Well, hi, this is Peter Combs from BidAmount.com and P.L. Combs Asian Art. Here we are, located in Gloucester, Massachusetts. And today is August 4th, 2017. It's Friday. And we're going to take a look, as we always do, to see how things did in the catalog that we put up each week. Here's last week's. It hasn't been updated yet. We'll do it later on today. And we had some rather good auction results. But before we get to that, I wanted to cover a couple of things that have been going on in the last couple of weeks. If you follow our blogs, you know that we've done a couple of posts about two auction houses. There are more coming. We're actually going to start building a base of them. These auction houses that are selling copies, fakes, and reproductions and sort of pretending they're real. And last week we had a piece on this, the Altair Auction down in Norwood, Massachusetts. This was a shameful auction of fakes, complete with fake provenance, and it's the only word. There's no mincing around this. This isn't a matter of opinion. These are all blatant fakes with attributions, provenances, and receipts to people that were dead years ago, and they're still buying stuff allegedly in the 1960s. And they were trying to peddle these incredibly rare looking giwares and guans, all these sung pieces, receipts from Blewett and Sons. If you've read the blog, you know what I'm talking about. And they had a lot of other fakes too, but this was just a particularly shameful mess. And we put the word out, we posted it, and we will keep after these guys forever. We also contacted the Massachusetts Auctioneers Association, Massachusetts Auctioneers Licensing Board, to let them know about this auction because it was a live event and does fall under their purview. So I think they're going to be back on the radar screen. They've already been investigated a couple times for criminal activity. One of them was a fraud case involving $1.7 million vase, some fake stamps, and there was something else, a sword or something. But at any rate, these are the auction results. Passed. This one sold, unfortunately. Passed. This sold for $650. Sold for $25. If that vase was real, it would have brought $15,000. The celadon, the cloisonne passed. The blue vase passed. Everything sort of passed. 80%, 90% of the sale passed, from the best I could tell. So good. I'm glad, and I hope they don't do it again. And then on the other blog that we did a couple of weeks ago regarding an auction that took place in Marietta, Georgia, by the Eden Gallery. They were the ones, if you recall, that we wrote about, who had copies of some of the rarest Chinese Qinlong imperial porcelain, Yuan porcelain, moon flasks, pairs of Qinlong vases that were being offered. Well, these sold for $47,000, not $4 million. The moon flask brought $14,000, not $2 or $3 million. So they found some people that were willing to take a shot, as they say. They'll find out very quickly when they contact an auction house. I was glad to hear a lot of people who had bought from them contacted me and said, "I bought stuff, but I'm not paying for it." They had been deceived. But one of our readers sent an email to them asking about why they were selling fakes or that kind of thing. And Eden Galleries was very aware of the post we did. They were notified. Somebody that notified them told me he was telling them. And they replied to him basically claiming that I'm just a really, really bad guy, and the age and authenticity of pieces is based on personal opinion. Regrettably, they're, of course, completely wrong. And the auction, of course, did not realize anywhere close to what authentic items would bring because they weren't authentic. All right, it's just as simple as that. All right, so hopefully we'll stay after them. We'll keep an eye on them, and if they do it again, we're going to post it again. All right? We have a right to post our opinions. This is a bronze that's actually up right now. I wanted to throw this in at the beginning. It closes on Sunday. It's a rather nice little late Ming Dynasty bronze of a boy on a very interesting wooden stand. It has a small repair in the midsection. It looks like it got tipped over at one point. But it's a nice bronze. If you like bronze figures, that's sort of a nice one. And then we had this. This was a really, really nice Amadeus 17th century gilt bronze seated Kuan-Yin. Beautifully done and inscribed. Marked across the base here. It looked okay to me. From what I could see, the workmanship, the casting, the wear, the gilding, the way it's done, the back and underside of it looked all right. Very typical of the period. Nice. They provided some nice detail shots, You have this blue up here, lapis blue, which you should see, which was used on 16th, early 17th century pieces. Nice looking bronze. Brought $12,222. Looked like a good thing to me. And then there was this silk. This was a nice silk. I like Chinese silks. This was a good one. It was a framed one of a jardin there on a coral or a root stand, and a vase wrapped with flowers coming out of it. Beautifully done. And it got some interest, got some traction. And I hate the frame. The frame's got to go. But it went for $545, which is a very reasonable price, I think, for that. It was a nice thing. Chinese silk art is fabulous to collect. And there was this vase, this nice little Mei Ping, 19th century, possibly older, rather good-looking example to me, with insects and peaches on it. Here's the bottom of it. That looks a bit like a 19th century foot to me, but a good solid example. I love the insect on it, and it did rather well. It brought $1,194. Okay, and this came from Friddy Skrizitz. He's a good seller, and there's another picture of it. And now we'll go over here. This was the this rather nice looking. Here's the bottom of it. This really nice looking Daquan bowl. Beautifully done. Nice looking rounded, smooth foot rim on it. And here's a side shot of the phoenix. There's a little tiny bit of roughness on one of the edge of the mouth, as I recall. Maybe it's over there, but it was a good looking bowl, and it did very well. Nice raised red enamels on it. And brought $3,050. Okay, this is a nice piece. It comes from a seller over in Angers, France. He finds things. And this was that pair of vases I put up. I like these. I thought these were very attractive. They're obviously mid-19th century vases. Rather unusual pattern on them, but I like the way it was done, and I thought the shape of the vases was particularly appealing. And a good solid date to the mid-19th century, judging by the foot and the quality of the decoration. Very, very nice. And they did well. They did pretty well. They brought $1,913, which I think was a perfectly good price. And then this was sort of a little bargain of the week. If you collect Japanese Arita, you might have missed this. This was a nice little early 19th century Arita dish with beautiful patterning on it. It's not a huge dish, but it went very, very reasonably. As you know, Japanese porcelain is a real bargain these days. I would urge you to take it up collecting, because it won't always be a bargain. And this only went for $39, which I thought was a fabulous buy for someone. I thought it would do a little better than that. And then there was this box. It's either Pactong or pewter box. Probably out. It was made in Swato. But very nice quality decoration. I love these ball or onion. Well, I call them ball or onion feet on them. Nice box, nice tea caddy. A good 19th century example, beautifully inscribed. This was the thing that got me. This box had some wonderful artwork on it, very well done, including this big stack of scholars' books with calligraphy up the sides. I don't know if everybody noticed that, but I think somebody got a fabulous buy on this. I really do. I think this was an excellent object, and it only went for $178. Okay. Chinese pewter is top quality. It's a funny thing about pewter is that they made a lot of pewter, and most of it was really awful. We see it all the time. But they also had a vein of pewter that was made, a group of pewter pieces that were made that were absolutely beautiful quality. And so far, the buying market hasn't differentiated the two. It's sort of like lumping in, really mediocre rose medallion with really great 18th century Qianlong export plates. They haven't split them out and said, wait a minute, these are the good ones. And there were some very good pieces made. Absolutely. All right, so just keep that in mind. When you're out there, you might want to start a little collection. It's certainly inexpensive enough. And then there was this. This was a further evidence of the slide in prices of Chinese export porcelain. This is a really nice reticulated Fitzhugh American market armorial or heraldic platter. Beautifully done, nice looking example, probably for the U.S. market. There's the back of it. It's all the way it should look. It did have some wear to the enamels and so forth. You can see the yellowing coming through, but still $148. Very, very inexpensive number for that. And then there was this Chinese Amari. This is beautiful stuff. This was put up by a seller. He sold them together. wonderful little pot on the left and this pretty much matching plate on the right. Very nice. This is a nice little lot. And I thought it went quite reasonably. $205? I thought the little Amari pot on the left was worth probably, should have brought $300 to $500. But somebody got both for $200. I think that was a real bargain. Not sure why. And this I thought was maybe the prettiest plate of the week. It's interesting. We did a post this week on Famille Rose Imperial Porcelain because we'd done a video sort of on the history of Famille Rose a few weeks ago on the month or so ago on the PL Combe site, and we decided to put up some Famille Rose examples from the Imperial Palace on that site this week. And this is what I'm always fascinated me. The variations, the color combinations that they did during the Qianlong period on these porcelains and the Yongzheng period as well were just fabulous. And I thought this was an incredibly unusual but very successful design. The lovely yellow inner border, the use of reds and grays, just elegant, just an elegant looking plate. And I thought it went for a good price, but I think this was really a nice piece of art for $404. It was being sold by Joe World, who's a seller in Valence, France, and they get nice things. They have good taste. That's one of them. All right, and then we had this really nice with this big rose medallion, a rose mandarin floor vase. It was about 16 or so inches tall with this very typical Greek key border. Here's the bottom of it. That's what the bottom of one of these should look like. Lots of irregular color and iron spots and whatnot because the clay they were using was not as pure as it had been in the 18th century for a variety of reasons. Here's a side view of it with the chimera going up it and this sort of abbreviated top. It wasn't cut down, that's the way it was made. And nice decoration. You have the basket. This was very clever. I like the way they did this. This is like the classical basket with the flowers in it. And they left it blank and hollowed it out as a cartouche and put figures in there, but it's actually the basket. But nicely done. And there's a side view of it. And I thought this went quite reasonably, $467. I think that was a really nice buy. It was a good example and looked to be in very good condition. All right, and then there's this elegant little Lausanne-shaped spiraling vine blue and white plate, early 19th, late 18th century, somewhere in there. Here's the back of it. There's the bottom of it. But a nice old one, good honest piece. Went for $237, which I think was a good price. I think that was a fair trade. If you like to collect blue and white, this is sort of nice. Most of these plates you see in this style are, of course, as you know, all done in enamels, not all underglazed blue. So it was a rather nice example, and not for a lot, and you have to spend a lot of money to get it. And there were some of these, this super, Bianco rimmed Chinese export armorial plates made in the 18th century, 1760s, 1780s, somewhere in there. Rather nice. Here's the back of it, very typical of these 18th century plates. This nice looking foot, nice and white. You think about how white that is and then compare it to the rose medallion pieces of the 19th century. You can see how the purification process slipped. They just used a lot whiter glazes in the 19th century to sort of cover it up. But anyway, this plate was a nice one, nice, very collectible example. And it went for $511, and it was being sold by a rather good dealer we keep an eye over in Taunton in England. All right, and he also had this up, another one. This is an unusual one with this family crest in the center with a rampant horse and this beautiful, very delicately drawn blue outer border with traces of gilding still evident. Had a little nick out of the top of it, but I think that's a rather unusual plate. And I don't know who the family was, but it's a beautifully done example. And it went for $385, which I think was a fair price for that. All right, now let's pop over one more. There we go. This was that sort of nice on the newsletter page. We showed the back of it, but it's a rather nice Kangxi molded. It's a molded plate with underglazed blue, but the outer rim pattern, the center panel is sort of typical. They're playing Go, but the outer border I thought was really interesting. The way the artist broke it up and put in sprigs and flowers and used these little leaf and flower blossom devices. Thought it was quite attractive. Here's the back of the plate with the Kangxi mark on it. It's absolutely period as far as I'm concerned. And it went reasonably, $269 for a mark and period Kangxi plate. Not bad. As you know, everybody knows most of these Kangxi blue and white plates have Ming marks on them. And then there was this. This was a rather nice. They often see this same Kangxi bowl with this nice wide averted rim on. It's done on biscuit, beautifully done. Here's the bottom of it, typical foot with the square seal in the middle, the nonsensical seal. Here's the interior, good glaze, that sort of brownish aubergine with yellow, white, and green enamels. And it was in beautiful shape, and it went for $692, which is not a lot for one of these. Not a lot at all. All right, so let's move along here. I'm fighting a little bit of a cold today, so I keep pausing to take a drink of water. So excuse me if I do that. This coral ground. I like this. It's a coral ground bowl, late 19th century bowl. Beautifully done. Here's the bottom of it. It has a chinlung mark. Of course, it's an apocryphal one, but a very pretty little bowl, probably early 20th century, late 19th, somewhere in there. You have to look at it a lot more to really figure it out, but it's a nice looking bowl. And it did very well. It brought $985. These bowls always do very well. If it didn't have the mark on it, it probably would have brought $600, but the collectors, especially in China, love marked pieces. Even if it's out of period, they seem to like them just fine. And that was a nice piece. And Dr. Godfrog had that. He's another good seller that we like. He's over in the UK as well. And last but not least, these are selling over the weekend, or selling pretty soon. Rather nice pair of Republic period export sort of eggshell vases with their case. Very nice. They're ending in Sunday, and they're up to $2,000, so you might want to check them out. These vases are always very attractive when they come with their cases. People love to get the cases on them. So if you see one with a case, it's probably worth a bit more than otherwise. All right, and that's about it for the week. And if you want to leave a comment, please do. Give us a little thumbs up maybe, or sign up for subscribe to us, or subscribe to the weekly newsletter. And we'll be back next week, and check our sites for updates and posts as we go along. All right, and everybody have a great weekend. It's beautiful here right now. It's summer in Cape Ann, and wonderful weather. We're going to go out and have some fun this weekend. All right, and I hope you all do too. Okay? Thanks again for visiting. Bye-bye.